Years had passed since Jaguar Paw escaped the bloody grip of the Mayan Empire and vanished deep into the wild heart of the jungle with his wife and children. Peace had slowly returned to his soul, his days filled with hunting, laughter, and the rhythm of the forest that once again breathed freely around him. But destiny, like the shifting wind, never stays still. One quiet morning, as mist hung low over the river and parrots cried from the canopy, Jaguar Paw noticed strange footprints along the muddy banks, wide, deep, and not of his people. Following the trail, he discovered something that chilled his blood: a burned village, smoke still rising from the ashes, and the bodies of his kinsmen scattered like fallen leaves. Arrows of black stone and steel lay beside them, unlike any weapon he had seen before. The air smelled not only of death but of something new, something foreign. In the following days, whispers spread among the tribes. Old shamans spoke of pale men who had come from across the great waters, riding beasts taller than men, wielding sticks that roared like thunder and spat fire. They called themselves gods, but they brought only chains and death. Jaguar Paw's heart filled with both rage and dread. He could no longer hide within the forest while others suffered. His instincts as a hunter returned, sharper than ever. The jungle that had once been his sanctuary was now his weapon. He painted his face with black clay and blood, the mark of vengeance, and silently promised the spirits of the fallen that he would not rest until the invaders paid in blood. One evening, standing on a high cliff above the roaring ocean, he finally saw them, the giant wooden beasts with wings of white cloth, anchored near the golden sands. The sound of distant drums echoed from the ships, and small fires burned along the coastline where the invaders built their camp. Jaguar Paw watched in silence, his jaw tight, his heart steady. These were no gods, no spirits, only men with greed in their eyes and death in their hands. As the blood-red sun dipped below the horizon, he whispered into the wind, "If they bleed, they can die." The jungle fell silent, as if listening to its chosen son rise once more. The hunter had returned, and the war for the new world was about to begin. The morning sun rose red over the jungle, staining the mist like spilled blood. Jaguar Paw moved silently through the trees, his body painted for war, his heart burning with vengeance. The air was thick with the smell of smoke and metal, the stench of the strangers who had invaded his land. From the edge of the forest, he watched their camp, dozens of pale men dressed in shining armor, strange beasts with long faces tied to wooden posts, and captured tribesmen forced to haul crates of gold toward the shore. For the first time, Jaguar Paw saw how these men treated his kind not as warriors, but as animals. His blood boiled. That night, when darkness blanketed the coast, Jaguar Paw struck. Moving like a shadow, he and two surviving hunters crept into the camp. They slit throats, cut bindings, and freed prisoners before melting back into the jungle. The invaders awoke to chaos, their fires destroyed, their supplies stolen, their men missing. From the shadows, the forest whispered their fear back to them. They began to call Jaguar Paw El Demonio de la Selva, the demon of the jungle. But vengeance came with a price. The invaders soon marched deep into the jungle, burning everything in their path, determined to find the ghost who haunted them. Their thunder weapons cracked through the trees, killing animals, destroying sacred places. When Jaguar Paw returned to his hidden village, he found it empty, his wife, 7, and their children gone, taken by the strangers. For a moment, his strength broke, and the hunter became a man again, crushed by grief. But as he knelt beside the ashes of his home, he saw small footprints leading toward the west, toward the mountains. His son had survived. His family was alive, and that was all he needed to rise again. With the spirit of the jungle as his ally, Jaguar Paw began his silent war. He set traps in rivers, poisoned their food, led them into swamps where the earth swallowed their boots. One by one, the conquerors vanished, their armor rusting in the mud. The survivors whispered that the jungle itself was alive, that it was hunting them. And in truth, it was. As the days passed, Jaguar Paw grew darker, harder, more ruthless. His eyes carried the fury of every tribe destroyed by the invaders. He was no longer running from fear, he had become fear. The hunter who once fought to save his family now fought for the soul of his land. And as the crimson sun fell over the jungle once more, he looked toward the sea where more ships appeared on the horizon. His voice was calm, steady, and full of fire. If more gods come, then more will die. The jungle roared in answer. The war had only just begun. The sky was dark with smoke. The forest that once sang with life now echoed with the thunder of foreign guns. The invaders had returned, more of them, armed with steel and fire, their sails like white ghosts haunting the coast. The jungle trembled under their boots, its silence broken by explosions and the screams of the captured. But somewhere in that green inferno, a single man still moved, silent, relentless, burning with purpose. Jaguar Paw had become a legend, a nightmare whispered among soldiers who feared the dark. Days turned into nights of blood. Jaguar Paw united the scattered tribes, hunters, farmers, and warriors from the mountains and the valleys. He taught them how to move unseen, how to fight the invaders not with strength, but with the jungle itself. Traps of vines, poisoned arrows, and pits of sharpened stakes turned the forest into a graveyard for the conquerors. The jungle fought back, reclaiming its children. One dawn, the enemy captured a small group of villagers, among them 7 and Jaguar Paw's son. Tied to wooden posts, they were to be executed at sunrise as a warning. When the first light touched the camp, a mist rolled in from the river, thick and blinding. Out of it came the sound of jaguars snarling and men screaming. Arrows flew from the fog, fire spread across the camp, and chaos erupted. Jaguar Paw moved like a shadow through the flames, cutting through the soldiers one by one until he reached his family. As he freed them, a gunshot rang out. The commander of the invaders, a bearded man in gold armor, aimed his weapon at Jaguar Paw. Time seemed to stop. The thunderstick roared, and Jaguar Paw fell to his knees, blood soaking the earth. But before the commander could fire again, the warriors of the jungle surged forward, striking with fury. The commander fell, his body swallowed by the vines. Jaguar Paw, wounded but alive, looked up at the rising sun, its red light glinting off the armor of the dead. He turned to his people, his voice weak but strong in spirit. The gods of fire have fallen. This is our land. Our blood. Our home. The tribes raised their spears and cried out, their voices echoing through the trees like thunder. The jungle had won not through conquest, but through survival. As the camera pans high above the trees, we see the vast green canopy stretching to the ocean. The broken ships burn on the shore, their smoke vanishing into the horizon. Jaguar Paw stands on a cliff, his family beside him, watching the sun rise over a free land. Final line narration: the jungle remembers its children. And when men forget their place, the hunter always returns.